Hello anybody, and thanks for tuning into Monday Morning Handicapping. This is a 2026 Kentucky Derby Prospects video where I'm going to be taking a look at one of the upcoming Kentucky Derby contenders, and the horse that I'm covering in this video is a horse by the name of My World, whose sire or father was a horse named Essential Quality, whose dam or mother was a horse by the name of Quebec, who is by Into Mischief, so Into Mischief is the sire or father of Quebec. The trainer of My World is Brad Cox, and the jockey is Jaime Rodriguez. So here's just a quick look at the Kentucky Derby Prospects videos I've covered this far. If you're interested in any of these runners, I've done videos on them. Take note of the date that these videos were published, because obviously as their career progresses, they're going to have more races, which won't be covered if they took place after this published date. So just take note of that. And if you're interested in any of these runners, feel free to seek out those videos. So as of now, February 11th, 2026, My World was purchased for $350,000 as a yearling in 2024. He's currently tied in 13th with 10 points towards the Kentucky Derby. And by rule of thumb, you're going to need about 50 points to enter the race. So still a ways to go. Future odds for the 2026 Kentucky Derby on this horse settled at 81-1 when betting pool number 3 closed. My World has 4 career starts, 3 wins, no seconds or thirds, with $218,000 in career earnings. This horse has shown steady progression throughout his young career. This horse's morning line for pool number 4 is currently set at 80-1, and this pool opens Friday, February 13th. He appears to be making his next start on February 14th in the Grade 3 Saudi Derby, going 8 furlongs on the dirt. So if you like what you see in this video, you might be able to get him at some pretty decent odds, and if he goes on to win the Saudi Derby, you can bet that those odds will go down next time. And former 2026 Kentucky Derby favorite Ted Noffey is off the Derby trail, so the field certainly feels a bit more wide open at this point. So I'm trying to take a look at as many horses as I can. So looking at the pedigree of My World, again, the sire or father is a horse named Essential Quality. He was homebred and owned by Godolphin Stables. Essential Quality had 10 career starts, 8 wins and 2/3, so never out of the top 3. He had $4.9 million in career earnings. All 10 of his races were on dirt, with wins from 6 furlongs or 3/4 of a mile to 12 furlongs, which is a mile and a half. And the Kentucky Derby is 10 furlongs or a mile and a quarter, so definitely has some long distance stamina from the sire side of things. In route races, so a mile or more, Essential Quality had 9 races that were a mile or more, 7 wins with 2/3. He had 4 Grade 1 wins, 2 Grade 2 wins, and a Grade 3 win. He finished 3rd in the 2021 Kentucky Derby. He's only the 7th horse to win the Eclipse Award for Champion Colt at 2 and 3 years old, and his current stud fee is $25,000. The dam or mother of My World is Quebec, purchased for $105,000 for breeding stock in 2019. She had 37 career starts, 7 wins, 9 seconds, 3/3, with $373,000 in career earnings. All 7 wins were routing on the turf, so preferred the turf but liked going a long distance, so it appears to have some long distance stamina coming from both lines. She's a 1-time ungraded stake winner. The dam sire, so the father of Quebec, Into Mischief, 6 career starts, 3 wins, 3 seconds, with $597,000 in career earnings. He commands a $250,000 stud fee. He's the top earning sire by progeny since 2019. He's the only sire with more than 1 Kentucky Derby winner in the past 12 Kentucky Derbies. He's the sire of last year's Kentucky Derby winner. Of course, that was Sovereignty. Into Mischief is the betting favorite at about 9-2 for the sire of the 2026 Kentucky Derby winner. Connections of My World, the trainer Brad Cox has a career win rate of 26% from 11,000 starters. At the graded stakes level, a win rate of 23% from 1,000 starters. He has 1 Kentucky Derby victory in 2021 with Mandaloun after the disqualification of Medina Spirit. He has 2 third-place finishes in the Kentucky Derby with Angel of Empire in 2023 and Essential Quality in 2021, which is the year that he was awarded the win in the Kentucky Derby, so he ran 1st and 3rd there. He's a 2-time Eclipse winner for Outstanding Trainer. He ranked 1st in earnings last year and 3rd in wins last year for Trainer. The jockey Jaime Rodriguez has a career win rate of 19% from 14,000 starts, graded stakes win rate of 4% from 46 starts, ranked 14th in wins in 2025 and 28th in earnings in 2025. Now taking a look at the races of My World, starting with his debut race, which took place August 23rd, 2025 at Saratoga. Some notes about this race before we watch the replay. It was a 6 furlong sprint on the dirt, a fast dirt track, so dry track, and a maiden special weight. The jockey for this race was Manny Franco, not Jaime Rodriguez. He breaks clean from post number 1 of 8. Creeps up to be about 1 length off the leader entering the turn. Runs seemingly well inside of horses for most of the race, and sometimes when the horses are 2 years old or just making their debut race, they might get a little sidetracked or distracted by other horses running around them. So on debut as a 2-year-old, to see this horse run well inside of horses was a good sign. Rides the rail throughout and gets an opening in the stretch, but unable to catch the leaders. Runs on but finishes fourth by about 4 lengths at odds of 7-2. And the splits for this race were 22.6, 23, and 23.9, so not slowing down a whole lot, and this horse stayed on well enough. So let's go ahead and take a look at this race now. So where horse number 1 will be closest to the rail. Breaks cleanly, just not as fast as some of the other runners in this race. Jockey definitely asking him to stay a little bit close to the front, not go for the lead, but stay in contention early. So he's inside of horses in some tight spaces, but you can see the horse is just running just fine, not throwing his head up. Jockey's not having to pull on the reins at all. Not super tight quarters, but definitely some stuff going on around him, and the horse is staying focused. Jockey's definitely asking this horse to keep pace. He's down on the rail, so he's not losing any ground around the turns, not running a further distance. The whip's not out on the horse just yet until about now, so he's just asking them to keep up the speed without overly urging. Horse still seemingly focused, just unable to hang with these leaders who are starting to pull away, but the horse is running on, not losing a ton of ground. And you can see the margin of victory. So taking a look at the level of competition he was running against, that first place finisher has 4 career starts, 1 win, 1 second, horse named Big Dom, $160,000 purchase. This was his debut race. He ran second most recently in a 6.5 furlong sprint in an ungraded stakes race at Churchill Downs behind Boyd, who's one of Bob Baffert's Kentucky Derby contenders. So to run second to Boyd is no knock on his resume. The second place finisher had 4 career starts, 1 win and 1 second, Dr. Kapoor. Homebred and owned, this was his debut race. He broke his maiden neck start, going 7 furlongs, beating Chip Honcho, who is most certainly on the Derby trail as well, one of the contenders. He has declined in his most 2 recent starts, finishing 6th and 8th after this race. Third place finisher has 4 career starts, no wins, a second and 2/3, Vino Vici. Homebred and owned, this was his 3rd start. He's still a maiden after 4 starts. The top 2 runners appear to be solid racehorses. No shame in losing on debut to some of these runners. So looking at My World's second start, October 4th, 2025 at Aqueduct, 6 weeks later from the previous race. Another 6 furlongs on the dirt on a fast track, maiden special weight. Manny Franco aboard again. Breaks clean from post number 7 of 7, the far outside. Our horse is number 8. There was 1 scratch in this race, so he is on the far outside as number 8. Goes out about 1 length off of the leader, outside of the second place horse in the 3 path. Jockey begins asking the horse to go halfway around the turn. Horse takes a few strides to get on the right lead in the stretch. Once he does, he seems to want to veer to his inside, but the jockey does a good job keeping the horse's head turned to the right and using the left-handed stick. Finishes gamely to win by a neck at odds of 4-5. So was the betting favorite, was expected to win. Only won by a neck, but still got the job done with a little bit of running trouble in the stretch. The splits for this race were 22.5, 23.1, and 24.7. So a little fast early and slowing down as you would expect. Not too slow, but not real fast either in the end. But let's take a look at this race now. So we're the far outside horse, horse number 8, but 1 scratch, so there's only 7 horses in this race. Here we are in kind of the maroon cap on the outside. You can see he's in 3rd place, only about a length off the leader at this point. Out a little bit wide early in the 3 path. Not in traffic, but running eye to eye with another horse. Jockey does not want to take back and save ground on the rail, which is fine. Could get into more trouble doing that anyways. So just starts to casually creep up. Is now in 2nd. Somewhat of a loose leader, but going a little bit fast, so maybe expect this horse to tire out a little bit later. See the action on our horse. The jockey's all out. The whip's already out. And just watch his steps as he enters the stretch. Takes a second to switch leads. Right about there, he gets going. The right lead. See the horse's head is a little bit cranked. He kind of wants to veer in, but the jockey's doing a good job controlling him. Veering in a little bit again. Almost makes contact. The wire's coming. Has momentum. And gets the neck margin victory. So taking a look at who he beat in this race, that 2nd place finisher has 4 career starts. No wins yet, but a 2nd and a 3rd, a horse named Dark Assault. Homebred and owned. This was his 2nd ever start and is still a maiden after 4 tries. 3rd place finisher, 4 career starts, no first, seconds, but 3 thirds, a horse named Double Act. $850,000 purchase. This was his debut. Still a maiden, but finishing behind some talented winners. One horse named Schoolyard Superman and another named Otino. Definitely some very good horses, so to lose to them. Again, no knock on his resume, but has yet to win his first race. Fourth place finisher, 3 career starts, no first, seconds, or thirds. 22 black, $100,000 purchase. This was his debut, still a maiden after 3 tries. Good to see this horse prevail over this mediocre, though young, field in his second start. These horses haven't had a lot of starts. They might need more time to mature and develop, but it's good to see that My World got the job done against a field like this. Third start, November 1st, 2025 at Aqueduct, 4 weeks since the previous race. 8 furlongs on the dirt, a fast track, the Nashua Stakes. Jaime Rodriguez now gets aboard this horse. My World is stretching out 2 furlongs, which is a quarter of a mile, but it's still a one-turn race. Breaks clean from post number 3 of 5. Stalks the early leader in second by a half length in the 3-path. Horse is under a firm hold by the jockey heading into the far turn. Casually closes the margin on the leader around the far turn in the 2-path. Switches lead seamlessly in the stretch run this time and runs on well to win by over 3 lengths at odds of 3-1. The splits for this race going 8 furlongs was 23.3, 23.7, 25.2, and 25.7. So slowed down considerably from the half mile to the 3/4 mile marks on the track, but did not slow down a whole lot after that. So let's go ahead and take a look at this race now. So we're horse number 3 of 5, smack dab in the middle. Gets out clean. There was no bumping. I watch all the head-ons just to make sure they are clean and nothing of note. So starting off his career with 2 sprint races, this horse is showing that speed, able to stay up close early, stretching out to a mile. The pace should be a little bit slower, so this horse should have no problem staying with this pace. It's just a matter of how far he wants to go. You can see the first quarter a little bit slower than some of those sprints. You can see the body language of the jockey. He's just pretty much sitting still, not pumping with his arms. How he's standing, just standing basically still, letting the horse just run at this speed under his own power, under his own will. No real traffic, but he does have a target to look at, so the horse has something to run after in the later stages of the race. Now he's just casually creeping up on the leader. You can see the jockey still not asking for a whole lot. Just maybe let the reins out a little bit, tell this horse he can pick it up. Horse responds, listening to the cues of the jockey. Looked like he was trying to veer in a little bit there. Veers in, a little bumping there. Body language of the jockey. Now he's starting to ask the horse to keep it up. He's getting a little run at from his outside. Responds to the whip. Doesn't seem to be veering in or out anymore. And starts to extend that margin and go on to a very relatively easy win in the end. So now looking at the competition he faced in this race, the second place finisher, 5 career starts, 3 wins, 2 seconds. So always in the top 2. Horse named Probably Dreaming, $37,000 purchase. 4th career start, and this was his first loss. Came into this race on a 3-race win streak to start his career. Ran second most recently, going 7 furlongs and another ungraded stake. So pretty solid horse. 3rd place finisher, 5 career starts, a win, a second, and a third. Day 1 starter, $160,000 purchase. This was his 3rd career start. Finished 8th after this in the Grade 2 Remsen behind 2 top Kentucky Derby contenders named Paladin and Renegade. Paladin will be racing this upcoming Saturday, and Renegade just ran, I believe it was last Saturday, and won the Tampa Bay Derby. 4th place finisher, 6 career starts, 3 wins and a third. Tough Guy Tony, $27,000 purchase. 4th start, ran second going 6 furlongs in an ungraded stake at Penn National after this race. Good to see this horse, My World, prevail. First time going a mile against a horse with 3 straight wins. 2nd and 3rd place finishers have solid records as well. Most recent start, January 3rd, 2026 at Aqueduct, 8 weeks since the previous race. Another 8 furlong race, a 1 mile on the dirt, a fast track, the Jerome Stakes. Breaks clean from post number 3 of 4. Very small field here, only 4 horses. Opts to take a bit further back, stalking the 2 leaders by about 3 lengths early. Casually gains on the new leader in the 3-path, much like last race. Seamlessly switches leads entering the stretch, so 2 races in a row he has had no trouble switching leads. 1.5 lengths behind the leader as they're entering the stretch. Veers in slightly as he begins to pass the leader, as we've seen him do before. Cruises to victory by 2 lengths at odds of 5-2. The splits for this race were 23.6, 23.5, 25.1, 26.7. You can see this times were slowing down a bit more this time. He did get improving speed figures in each of his races, so this just tells me that the track might have been playing a little bit slower this day. So just keep that in mind when I talk about how this horse has been progressing. But let's go ahead and take a look at this race now. So we are horse 3 of 4, calm in the gate. So gets out, and remember, takes back a little bit further than he had done in his last 2 races, or last 3 rather. Your favorite is this 4 horse on the outside who gets a no excuse trip this race. No traffic to deal with, kind of could just sit wherever he wants. It's only a 4 horse field, so you wouldn't expect much traffic for any horse. And here we are, we're actually in last now, but still only about 3 lengths off of the leader. 23.58 for the opening quarter. Not too fast, but fast enough. Maybe the horses on the front will slow down, but again, this 4-horse, the betting favorite, expected to do big things. It's just able to sit wherever he wants, so it's just a matter of anyone can catch the 4-horse, and you can see My World starting to cut into that margin. The jockey on the horse isn't asking him too eagerly, just casually lets the reins out again. He's coming after this big favorite who's starting to separate from the rest of the pack. Now Jaime Rodriguez on My World is starting to pump with his arms. Whip's not out yet. Well, there it is, as I said that. Gets about almost on terms. We're about actually a length and a half off the leader entering the stretch. Now it's a fight to the finish. Let's see if My World can catch up. I believe we already spoiled it in the last slide. Look like he's just swerving in just a little bit there as he comes up to the leader. Jockey straightens him out. The horse listens, gets back on track, starts to open up just a little bit late in the end. So looking at who he beat in this race, the second place finisher has 7 career starts, 2 wins, a second and 2/3, a horse named Balboa, $875,000 purchase, 7th and most recent start for this horse. Ran third in the Grade 2 Remsen before this behind 2 top Kentucky Derby contenders, Paladin and Renegade. We mentioned those 2 runners in the last slide, but these seem to be the top Kentucky Derby contenders at this point, so to run third of them just tells me that Balboa is a talented horse, and My World beat this horse pretty soundly. Third place finisher, 2 career starts, a win and a third, a horse named Enforced Agenda. Homebred and owned, second and most recent start. Came into this race breaking his maiden on debut, going this distance on this track. So this horse does have an affinity for Aqueduct apparently. Coming off a maiden win, so quite a step up in class, but able to run third here. Could be a talented horse, only 2 career starts, time will tell. Fourth place finisher, 3 career starts with 1 win. Freedom's Echo, $35,000 purchase. Third and most recent start for this horse. Came into this race after breaking his maiden, going 8 furlongs at Parks. Bodes well for this horse that he soundly beat Balboa, who got a no-excuse trip in this race, as Balboa ran third behind some of the top Kentucky Derby contenders before this race. That's all his races, so now we're going to go over some positives and negatives that I came up with for this horse, starting with the positives. It's a relatively new sire, essential quality, but looks to have a great pedigree for the 10 furlong distance, which is the Kentucky Derby distance, 1.25 miles. Trained by a top trainer in the country with a victory in the Kentucky Derby, of course that was via disqualification, as well as 2 third-place finishes, so this trainer knows how to get horses to peak come the Kentucky Derby race. Ran well inside of horses on debut. Traffic does not seem to be an issue for this horse as of now. So when you're in a Kentucky Derby with 19 other runners, you might find yourself down in some traffic. On debut as a 2-year-old, this horse ran in some traffic and seemed to handle it well, so that just bodes well for this horse's outlook. He has solid speed out of the gate, can get up near the front, doesn't have to be on the lead, but again, with 19 other horses in the Kentucky Derby, to be able to be ahead of half the field just means you're going to run into that less problems later on in the race, having to navigate through that many horses. Steadily improving with each race. Again, his speed figures have improved with each race, regardless of the time. The tracks may have been playing faster or slower on some days, so I think they're taking their time with this horse, and this horse has yet to peak. He beat Balboa by 2 lengths, who ran 3.5 lengths behind 2 current top Kentucky Derby contenders. Now for the negatives, the jockey Jaime Rodriguez has yet to win a Grade 1 level race. He's only 4% win rate at the graded stakes level. Has yet to prove his abilities around 2 turns or at any track other than Aqueduct. So this horse has run, while he has run 1 mile, he hasn't run a 2-turn mile, and he hasn't won at any track other than Aqueduct. His stakes wins were in 4 and 5 horse fields, so not a lot of competition, not a lot of adversity in those stakes wins. So I'd like to see him face a little more adversity or at least bigger fields with more competition. He has shown few instances of issues changing leads, though he seems to have overcome that in his 2 most recent starts, but also veering into the stretch. So in the Kentucky Derby, you don't want to give 1 inch away. So he's going to need to run a little bit straighter throughout the stretch and switch leads seamlessly entering the stretch. You're not going to want to give an inch. The race times aren't eye-catching yet. Again, this horse is young and progressing. His sire, Essential Quality, did not ship overseas on his trail to the Kentucky Derby. So if My World does run in the Saudi Derby, which by my research, it shows that he is probable to do so. My World's trainer also trained Essential Quality, and on his road to the Kentucky Derby did not go overseas. So shipping a horse overseas can sometimes have some adverse effects when they're on a plane going back and forth that much. So for him to take him overseas, maybe he just thinks he's ready to win a big race now, or maybe he's just not dead set on getting this horse in the Kentucky Derby. Not entirely sure what the goal is. I'm sure they'd like to bring him back and get him back on the Derby trail, but to ship the horse around could just wear the horse out a little bit. We'll have to see how he runs in Saudi and then when he comes back. So now for my rankings of prospects that I've covered. Of course, this isn't all the Kentucky Derby contenders. There's probably about 100 of them at this point, just of the ones that I've done videos on. I'm placing My World fourth in my list of the prospects I've covered. I know it's a bit ambitious placing, but I think this horse has good upside and this horse is improving. Still has a lot to improve, but certainly headed in the right direction. I'm very interested to see how this horse runs on Saturday. I think he's got more upside than some of the horses underneath him. But from what I've seen from My World, I think this horse can continue to improve. I don't think we've reached the peak of My World, so I am looking forward to it. He may not be fourth if these were all to race today, but I think going forward, I think fourth place is a good place to put him. Of course, these are subject to change as they do have more races and I see what they're capable of. But as of now, I'm going to place him fourth because of the upside. And that's it for my video on My World. Thanks for watching, everybody. Feedback is appreciated. Positive, negative, questions, comments, etc. Please feel free to leave comments below. I try to respond to everybody that leaves a comment. Please like, subscribe, and or share with friends. I'm hoping to get to 1,000 subscribers this year. We'll see how it goes. I'm at a little over 800 now, so it seems like an ambitious goal, but would be cool to see 4 digits in the subscriber box. My target audience is for folks that are relatively new to the sport. I say this at the end of every video, but if I'm explaining things and it seems simple or redundant or again, oversimplified, I'm just trying to reach an audience that is relatively new to the sport, help get them understanding what the game's all about and what all the terms mean so that they feel more comfortable playing the game and just really understanding the nuances. For anyone who is a newcomer, I have a couple of playlists dedicated to the newcomers. They're playlists that I sort of wish that were available when I was getting into the game, but one is How to Read a Racing Form, pretty straightforward. It's a playlist with 10 videos, couple minutes each. I just break down each component of the racing form, talk about what it is, what it's telling you, and how you can use it to make an informed decision on any given race. It's really not complicated once you start breaking things down. It's very straightforward. It's there to help the player make a decision, so give that playlist a look if you're not familiar with the racing form. I also have Betting on Horse Racing. That's where I talk about all the bets that a track typically offers, what it is, how you lay it, the terminology you use when you lay it, how much your ticket is going to cost based on your structure, and a few things that I look for in a wager based on who I like in any given sequence of races. So just a couple of playlists for any newcomers to help them get caught up to speed with this game and what it can offer. Coming up next, I have a friend who makes t-shirts. If you want this logo on a t-shirt, just let me know. My friend makes t-shirts and said, well, if you know anyone who wants to support the cause, get your name out there. I'll print you up some shirts. So if anyone's interested, just let me know. I'll definitely be doing some 2026 Kentucky Derby prospects video. Again, the field is wide open. There's a lot of horses I want to look at. I want to feel like I really know all the runners. I have no idea who's going to be in the race yet. I feel like some of the horses I've covered will be in this race, but a lot's going to change, and the field seems very wide open right now, so I'm trying to cover as many as I can. My goal is about 3 prospects every 2 weeks or so I'm hoping to put out a video every 3 to 5 days. I may handicap some upcoming races. Those are pretty short videos where I just talk about the race, who I like in it and why, and how I might play the race. And I can always fall back on the pedigree playlist, but because it is Derby season, I'm sure I will be mostly focusing on the Kentucky Derby prospects as the big race is just a few months away and I want to have a good sense of the entire field. So that's it for my video on My World. Thanks again for everybody for watching. If you'd hit that subscribe button, I'd appreciate it. Please let me know what you think. Any comments, I would love to read them. But thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.